tell us how you got into the Chef's Garden and how you got here.
So it's been a long journey, I would say. I started at Ohio State as an undergrad in nutrition. I've been interested in nutrition, I think, for as long as I can remember. I was always really into sports and athletics. And then I knew that I wanted to go to pharmacy school and not to be the pharmacist that was necessarily like always handing out the medication, but I really believed with the foundation in nutrition that I could help people understand ways to not have to take medication. And at the time, I didn't really have a plan for how I was going to do that, but that was what I said going into it. And so along my journey, I graduated from Ohio State Pharmacy School, went to Mayo Clinic, worked there as an outpatient pharmacist, then went to specialty pharmacy. I specialized in oral oncology. We did transplant. I did primary immune deficiency, and then oral, when the oral hepatitis C drugs came out, that was really like my area. And so it was a really exciting time. When I was there, what I was learning was that a lot of patients were asking me questions about supplements, about nutrients, about things that we didn't learn a whole lot about, even in undergrad nutrition as well as in pharmacy school. And I don't like being the person who's like, don't use it, but I don't really know why.
Yeah. But you had that like innate gut feeling like, there's something fishy here.
Yeah, and so I really felt like I needed to learn more. So while I was at Mayo, I went and did a wellness coach training because I wanted to change the way that I was able to communicate with people and really be able to meet them where they are, learn the motivational interviewing skills. And then I went with the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine and did a 2-year Integrative Medicine fellowship, which was amazing, and really was a lot of the knowledge that I was looking for, how to bring it together, because I knew people are using a lot of integrative therapies, but I didn't have that training. So that was really helpful. And then, like a crazy person, I had a 6-month-old baby. I was doing a 2-year fellowship, and then I was like, I might as well do something else. So I learned about functional medicine and decided to do my training with the Institute for Functional Medicine at the same time. So I did that, and then I got certified through them. And then I was working at a hospital, a rural hospital. I had left Mayo when I was working in a rural hospital where you're kind of like the all-utility person. Like, I'd be responding to codes in the ER, I'd be helping with nursing home stuff, I'd be helping with hospice, I'd be outpatient. So it was really, all of a sudden, I went from being super, super specialized to like knowing a whole lot, or just a little bit about everything, right? And so at that hospital, though, they were really into a more holistic approach, which really aligned with all of the things I had been working towards. And so I started heading up our integrative medicine committee, and we started like an aromatherapy protocol. We did hand massage. We started a hospital garden where we were growing herbs and utilizing them in our meals for our patients as well as nursing home residents. And then that really began to snowball. So then we started growing like small vegetables, and we started growing other things that we could use in the cafeteria. And then I started doing more teaching, so I was taking a lot of students on. And I started a functional and integrative medicine rotation where pharmacy students as well as medical students were actually getting their hands in the soil. And I worked with our local community garden as well. And I was taking students down there. We'd harvest vegetables. They'd bring it to our food bank. They would help prepare it, like wash it and clean it. And then we would put together food bags, like almost like a Blue Apron style bag with items from the food share, a recipe, and the fresh vegetables. Because what we learned initially is we were bringing in all these fresh vegetables and nobody was taking them because we were hearing, oh, my kids don't like that, or I don't know
what to do with them. Yeah.
So we started then utilizing these food bags, and they became really, really popular. And students were learning a ton because it was the first time they had really been pushed to not just tell people, oh, just eat healthy, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more to say about it.
Yeah, and so it was really fun. And so then I started thinking about culinary school. And so I came here to the Culinary Vegetable Institute for a tour during COVID, and they were closed to the public. But I wrote kind of like a long love letter about all the reasons I was excited about, what they were doing here at the Chef's Garden and the Culinary Vegetable Institute. And Chef Jamie gave me a tour and spent quite a while with me, and I had brought my daughter with me. And so as we were talking, he's like, why don't we just move here? And I was like, well, if I had a job here, I would move here. And so it ended up that I sent in my resume and we started talking, and I really created this job. So I called it Director of Pharmacy with an F, and they've been so gracious in allowing me to really develop this role into essentially my dream job. It's really been like this long journey, but it's come to like the culmination of being here and actually being on a farm. I think it's so amazing to be a pharmacist on a farm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, you created it, and look, we're surrounded by creation, right?
And I think, this is my first year of being here, and I still just feel like the possibilities are endless, and there's so much potential. And my real goal is to push the envelope of like, what is food as medicine? We talk all about it, but sometimes there's not a lot of meaning behind what we're saying. Mm-hmm. And so I think really putting some teeth into like, what is food as medicine? How do we do this? And like, what is pharmacy with an F?
How do you feel about, one day having more and more doctors, being the norm and standard of being able to prescribe, food prescriptions?
Oh, I think that's amazing. When I was in Minnesota, I ran a VegRx program as well. And so we started with a pilot of 10 people the first year and went to 40 people the second year. The outcomes were amazing of people. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is mindful eating and not kind of creating a lot of shame and guilt and judgment around food, because I think our culture does that enough. And so creating this VegRx program, it wasn't about weight loss or anything like that. It was really just about how do you include more vegetables for whatever your reason is. Yeah. And so people had so much fun with it. We had a Facebook group where they would share recipes. And so just from that small experience, I think to see that on a grander scale would be incredible. And the impact is just limitless, really.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.